everybody. It's Michelle Tennant, President of Henderson County Beekeepers Association. There was an email from the city that I just responded to. I think it was sent out earlier this summer, and then I responded to it. And Jon scheduled time with me just so that we could chat pollinator stuff and talk about ways that we could connect the dots. So, Jon, I'll share this with the other directors with the Beekeepers Association ahead of our next board meeting. So whatever you'd like for us to know, please.
Yeah, and then so are you guys mostly just focused on honeybees or pollinators in general? What?
Yeah, well, the Beekeepers Association, we do work for pollinator health throughout the county and beyond. However, we are focused on information for beekeepers by beekeepers. So honeybees would be our priority.
Okay, excellent. So I'll just briefly touch base on some of our efforts that we're doing with other pollinators, and then we can spend some time talking about honeybees and what we're doing with honeybees as well. So the other pollinators, we are building trailhead habitats.
Well, first of all, say, Jon, I don't know that I don't know who you are, and there's going to be plenty of other people who, so tell us about, like, first of all, who you are.
Okay, so we have a facility here off of Asheville Highway. A lot of folks are familiar with GB Shoes. We're right next to Crystal Visions. So right by the 26 exit on Asheville Highway. And we have a full woodworking facility here. So we have a shop that we build custom furniture and things out of woodworking. One of my hobbies, I got into beekeeping.
What's the name of the company, Jon?
Yeah, so the company that, the main company is Gleman and Company, like my last name.
Yes.
And then we have a showroom in the front that's called Green River Bee Company.
Oh,
and
cool.
So, yeah, and so it's an apiary store and pollinator habitats. And then we've developed 4 what I'm calling niche beehives. And the niche beehives are Langlong, horizontal Langstroth, a top bar hive, and a Layens hive. And they're all built on a CNC where we've developed a program. It cuts out parts, we assemble it, and we're trying to have things in motion. This started back in like probably about 2018. I built my first beehive.
Nice.
And we've been perfecting the craft ever since. And we think that next spring 24, we're going to have a bust out year with this, where we're going to be able to do the proper marketing. And we offer these nationwide. We can ship them anywhere, but we definitely want to get local business and traction too. And what caused us to go into building beehives is when I took an interest in beekeeping, and I had my first hive, my first colony, I decided there's got to be an easier, better way of doing this. What might that look like? And then I started to go research what else was out there, and came across the horizontalbeehive.com that Dr. Leo has out there. I know a lot of folks are familiar with him. He does a lot of great work. At the time, I was in Florida, and we actually co-sponsored having Dr. Leo fly in and give a presentation on his horizontal hives. And once we did that, I was hooked, because I've been in carpentry and woodworking for a long time now. And I said, okay, this is where I'm going to start. And now we have 4 models, and we're going to create a 5th one, which we're calling yes, there you go. That's Dr. Leo's site. And so that's the plans that he has on that site, are where I got the first inspiration, I guess, on my first horizontal hive that I built according to his specs and what he calls out on his hive, or on his horizontal hive. And then since then, we've kind of added some modifications. His stuff is for a homeowner to build a beehive, but it's not really, it's not, the price point on building a beehive like that isn't really profitable. So we took the next level, and then we've added some things like screen bottoms It's more lightweight, which means we can ship it. And then, his would be more difficult to do a production run or mass produce, and ours are just developed to be able to sell in volume. So
Okay.
that all makes sense. And then so we have the niche beehives that we've developed, and then we also have what we're trying to do is get more involved in pollinators in general, not just the honeybee aspect, but the 5 B's of pollination are the butterflies and moths, bats, birds, beetles, and bees. And we want to have some habitat or product line for all of them where folks are encouraged, where if they don't have the bandwidth or they're not able to keep honeybees, they're still able to do things in their backyard that are efforts that help pollinators in general. That's kind of the theme to the Green River Bee Company.
Well, I just, what occurs to me is that we should have you come in and do a speaking engagement with the members. I think they would love to hear about alternative, different hive sizes and whatnot for some of our. Maybe the other thing is that maybe we even come in and take like a short video or something. Like I don't know. We can do it. Have you come speak to the members? We can do another Zoom meeting like this where you're in your shop and then I'm the camera's just seeing like whatever you want us to see. Yeah, that I think that's really interesting because I think that people would like to, most of us are using Langstroth, although there's a few of the members who use different things. Are you a member? You should become a member if you're not, so that we can play together. Are you familiar with our Bee Club at all?
I am. In fact, you guys have been very relevant recently. Multiple folks have come in and discussed the Henderson County Beekeepers Association. So,
oh, good.
Yeah,
okay, well,
we aren't a member, but we would definitely like to be a member. And then also we host every Thursday a leads group with the Chamber of Commerce here. And we have 25 to 30 people here. We got chairs. So we could definitely host here, and people could see behind the scenes, the CNC machine in action, cutting out parts, get an idea, because all of our parts then go on a rack, and then as an order comes in, we pull the parts and build a beehive. So, I mean, we could do that real time with the group if we were able to set something like that. But
we've also got some Jon, we've also got some other partnerships that are coming up that, I wasn't, when I responded to that email, I heard later from the department saying, oh, you weren't really supposed to reply all. They weren't really supposed to copy everybody. So I did a faux pas, but so what? People have now been contacting me like, hey, we got people in the community coming to us wanting to learn more about bees. If it's about protecting pollinators, I'm all about it, right? And I'm a new president, so I'll be president. My term is 2023 and 2024, and I have a full group of directors who are really raring to go. One is connected really well with the homesteading and homeschooling network in and around the county, and I think that those homeschool kids would love to come do a, some type of field trip to come see you. I think I teach for fun in the mornings at Layla Patterson Fitness Center, which I think is right around the corner from you.
Believe so. Yeah.
By Advent Health. And there, many months ago, somebody in my class did say, hey, do you know there's a new beekeeper around the corner? And I said, oh, they should be part of the club. And that was as far as that conversation went, right? And I was like, next time you go in, tell them to be part of the club. Let me just, it's really easy. Let me just show you how to do that. We're about 200 members strong. Our newsletter reaches over 1,000. And we're part of the chapter of the North Carolina State Beekeepers Association. We just did we helped them with their summer conference. And anytime they're here at Blue Ridge Community College, we help them with that. But here, I just want to show you something here. So you just go to hcbeekeepers.org and then you sign up to be a member, okay, under membership. But here's it's only $15 a year. And one of the things that we had earlier, which I think you might be interested in, is we had Tom Repus here. And he did 10 hours of instruction. And so it was on genetic diversity in honeybees, queen bee basics, sustainable beekeeping, and the basics of mead making. So if you want those recordings, that's 4 presentations with Tom, and that's for sure worth $15. But
Was
with
he,
regard, go ahead.
was he a prior president of the association?
No, he is
Was he
a
a pre-
doc. No, he's an award-winning doctor, beekeeper, and mead maker from the Dakotas. So we flew him in
Oh,
as a special speaker.
okay.
And by
Yeah,
the
I think
way, his presentations were stellar.
okay, cool.
Yeah, and we've
Yeah,
got Ian Stepler coming later this fall, and then also Phoebe Snyder. So, while a lot of clubs are failing and closing, ours is growing. So, and
yeah.
it's in part because of the speakers that are. We have a strong speaker program because of our directors like Mike Getzowitz from Carolina Bee Farm, whom you might know, over
Yeah,
across
I
town.
I met him, I believe about 3 weeks ago. He came in to say hello in the apiary store there and had a really great conversation with him.
Oh,
So
good.
hopefully him and I are going to find ways to work together. And this is why I took you up when I got the email from you. I said, let me schedule a meeting with her so that what we're trying to do is just get the word out. We opened this facility in the middle of January this year. So, we're still kind of startup and folks don't know about us just yet. So I'm taking every opportunity I can to let everybody know what we're up to.
Well, if you don't mind, I could, this recording, I was just really doing it for our directors, but we also have a YouTube channel, and there's about close to 2,000 beekeepers on that channel that are subscribed to that. Do you want me just to put this recording up there?
Anywhere we can get some visibility is great with us. We would welcome that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and then John, we have we have a bee school every January and February. And so we also invite our corporate beekeepers to sponsor like giveaways and things of that nature at the bee school for our new beekeepers. And so I'm going to put you down on the short list for that, because we love to encourage the new beekeepers with some, giveaways, some equipment giveaways and things of that nature. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
We can even donate some equipment because we have a full apiary store. So just let us know how you can plug us in, and we'd be happy to capitalize on it.
Great.
Anything
One more short idea in the
yes,
interim. Short, So we're doing a STEM program with the Henderson Elementary School, and the education committee that I have, they really need somebody to come all week for like 1 hour. But it looks like my volunteers can do, maybe one day with their observational hive, but not like every single day for a week. Um, would you be interested in visiting school children?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
When's the time frame on that?
October-ish.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of it is we've been contacted by Habitat for Humanity. They want to do an apiary out at Dodds Meadow. They're doing a partnership with Conserving Carolina, and they've got native plants that are being stimulated and nurtured over there. And they were like, well, we've got this little waterway, this little thing in the back. So I'm talking to the club about doing an apiary there, maybe in conjunction with our 4-H extension office. So there's
Yeah.
also opportunity to get involved there with Habitat, especially since you're part of the chamber. And I was highly involved with Mountain True, still work with Mountain True because I live in East Flat Rock, and my husband and I were the ones that fought the asphalt plant locally here. You might have heard about during the pandemic.
I did, yes.
Yeah. So there's several thousand people who are still very active on Friends of East Flat Rock, and that neighborhood over there in Dodds Meadow could really use some bees. That would be
Yeah,
it's a really choice area for some bees. So,
absolutely.
okay,
And
good. Let me
then,
think if there's anything else. I think that's everything.
well, there's a couple things that I just like to add quickly is, even if the apiary, a lot of times there's concern with the bees stinging people, and that's the number one hurdle that we got to get over if we're going to put bees in somewhere. But the pollinator habitats They have sponsorship cells and they have educational cells, and we call them trailheads. You know, we can expand them. We actually build hexagons, and we can scale them up or scale them down. They come together, and there's some on our website. If you check it out, you'll see pictures of what I'm talking about. So there's different applications than just the honeybees. That if there's any opportunity for that as well, where's that? Is that the Facebook or the
This is, I'm going to the web. I went to the Facebook page, and now I went over to the actual page here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just a reference. If you go to, those are a couple of our horizontal hives there, and then maybe the next slide over. Yeah, there you go. That's one of our pollinator habitats. So you see, we build these hexagons, same as the honeybees, but each cell in that hexagon can be educational placard, actual habitat to show people at home. I don't know why we don't have more pictures of that up there. We're gonna have to work on that.
So, okay, let's just see about.
Yeah, it's further down. Those are just the bee rescue. So if you scroll further down, you'll see the habitats. That's the store, the apiary store, and then here we go, pollinator. These are some of the cells that we do for like trailheads and different pollinators and.
Oh, aren't those cool?
Yeah, so we can scale them up or scale them down. Somebody can sponsor it. That one right there is actually at Bullington Gardens here.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So any opportunity to get involved with those would be welcome. And then as far as the honeybees are concerned, the only other thing I make mention of is I've done a couple of speaking events myself now. I got a couple of them under my belt. And what I like to do is there's a lot of folks that know a lot more than I do about beekeeping itself. I would consider myself intermediate. You know, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm a guy that knows how to make great product out of using materials like wood, and here's the beehives and pollinator habitats. But what I also know a lot about through my journey being involved with not just honeybees, but pollinators in general, is on my speaking engagements, I like to help people understand the difference between honeybees and other pollinators. And then I like to also help people understand what truly is. A lot of folks know that the bees need help. A lot of folks know that the bees are having issues, but they don't know what those issues are. And I like to kind of communicate so they better understand the urban sprawl aspect of it.
Yes.
And so the only way to combat urban sprawl is to create environment within urban areas for bees and pollinators to thrive. So I harp on that. And then the other thing is a lot of folks understand that pesticides or insecticides aren't good for the bees, for pollinators, but they don't really understand what happens when these pollinators come in contact with these nicotinoid-based pesticides or insecticides. There's a whole cycle that goes on there, and a lot of folks are under the impression that they come in contact with it and they die. And that's not at all what's going on. In fact, they become hooked on it, and you see similar behavior as drug addicts in our society, where they stop taking care of their responsibilities back at the hive, and all they want to do is go find more of this nicotine-based insecticide. And a lot of folks aren't aware of that. So these are the kind of things that I like to bring to the public's attention, because my understanding is that this model for correcting it is already there. Europe's years ahead of us in regards to this, but they've already developed a blueprint. So if we want to make change, it's already there. The changes are defined what we would make. We get rid of some of these pesticides or find alternatives, and we combat urban sprawl with creating habitat in the urban environments for the pollinators.
Okay, can I say something that might be distasteful to people who are watching this? But I'm not going to say anything that's not factual, okay?
Yep.
I don't want to make people wrong. I just want to shed light on the areas where we need to shed light on. What you said was so important. It's like, I want to underscore it like 5 times. And the thing about Henderson County that I learned through the asphalt plant fight is that even our commissioners, some of them asked in a meeting where hundreds of people were present, they said, can someone please tell me what urban sprawl is? You've got commissioners who are in charge of urban sprawl and they don't know how to even define it, Jon.
I do understand. I do
So
understand.
we've got to really like educate people, and I've been harping on people. If you've gone through this video as long as you have, there's a really great movie called Kiss the Ground. Kiss the Ground is narrated by Woody Harrelson and talks about diversity in the habitat and how it can actually reverse climate change issues, especially for people who feel like they're completely they've given up, right? So let me just see if I've got here's the trailer. So
what is Optimum's greatest offer of all time? Introducing Optimum Complete.
Hold on just a
You can
second,
buy
let me
fast
share.
internet and 5G mobile for as low as $45 a month.
So this is Kiss the Ground.
So much bad news about our planet.
Hold on.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, by the way, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
Truth is, I've given up. This is the story of a simple solution, a way to heal our planet. The solution is right under our feet, and it's as old as dirt.
All of our soils that are under chemical
It's only 2 minutes.
conventional
Let's watch it.
agriculture are almost completely devoid of microorganisms.
Modern agriculture was not designed for the betterment of the soil.
Fossil fuels are by no means the only thing that is causing climate change. When we damage soils, carbon goes back to the atmosphere.
But when we destroy soil, it releases carbon dioxide.
Biosequestration is using plants, trees, and techniques of grazing and farming to capture carbon and store it in the soil.
We can fix a lot of our climate issues if we bring the CO2 down into a living plant and put it back into the soil where it belongs.
Plants working with soil microorganisms, it seems too simple.
Healthy soils lead to a healthy plant, healthy human, healthy climate.
There could be a way to eat food that heals the planet.
The problem isn't the animal. The problem is where the animals are at.
How do we take waste and repurpose and reuse it, because it's really not waste?
The poop has to stay in the loop.
Compost is just one of a suite of soil-based carbon capture solutions.
We know how to do it. And if we continue to scale over 30 years, we can reverse global warming.
We can get the Earth back to the Garden of Eden that it once was by regeneration. To see biodiversity return to a place that was completely devastated, that gives me hope.
Our health and the health of our planet are connected.
If you look over here, my neighbor's land that has been chemical fallow, then you look over at our paddocks, you have a diversity of different plant species. Which model do you want your food to be produced from? The answer is pretty simple to me.
I'll make you a deal. I won't give up, and neither should you.
So this was one of those documentaries where my husband was like, let's watch this tonight. I'm like, oh, really? Another one of these documentaries? You know how you do?
Well, I was going to watch it anyway just to come up to speed, but then I saw it has Woody Harrelson, so I have to watch it now. I have to. But yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Oh my gosh. I was so glad I watched it, because every time I now hear people complaining, we actually have something to do, and we each have our own part to play. I only have control over, my own personal 13 acres, right? But together, if we all, create that biodiversity, then we've got solutions together. So that's one reason why I'm so committed to the Bee Club, Jon. And that's why I'm really trying to bring the networking, just connecting the dots. We're all just working on the same thing. And then how can we actually then educate the younger kids? We've got I'm going to talk to we've got a summer intern. Her last day is today, and she's just been named I put her in. She's just turning 18 years old, and I put her in as our vice president. And she is really committed to getting a bunch of teenagers and younger people outside and beekeeping. And she is full of energy. So I'm going to talk to her about what we've discussed. And then I'm going to introduce this video to the other directors and maybe we'll just stop by and say hello and we'll get to work.
That would be awesome. We have a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old, and with interacting with them and their friends, the cool thing to me to see is that this generation coming up that's in the school system right now, and the ones that have just recently gotten out of the elementary or grade school, they're genuinely wanting to become actively engaged in helping offset and correct what's happened to Mother Earth. And in closing, I guess, directly with what you just said, I usually close out any of my speaking events with this message. Okay. I consider any type of beekeeping or pollinator habitats as conservation. And I read something a while back that just really resonated with me, and it goes, we don't need hundreds of people doing conservation perfectly. We need hundreds of millions of people doing it imperfectly. And to me, what that means is even if you just go home and do a little something in your own backyard to help offset what's going on with the pollinators and Mother Earth in general, then you're making an impact. And if we can get hundreds of millions of people to do that, I think we stand a chance.
I love that, John. And I just want to say, one of the things we learned, a really big lesson in the pandemic, uniting, we had 13,000 people in Henderson County, Buncombe County, and the surrounding counties to fight this asphalt plant. And we're a diverse area, right, as far as political opinions. We're in the South, it's the Bible Belt, and we're right outside of Asheville, North Carolina, known as the Paris of the South. And whatever political opinion you have, we can all agree that we need healthy soil and healthy crops for our food. We can all agree on that. And so I just, for people who are watching this, of course, I'd love for you to be a beekeeper, but there are so many different ways. And I think that movie, Kiss the Ground, starts you to think about like, well, here's a massive problem, but I'm a single person who can help. And whether you're willing to, like what John said, help in your backyard or get involved in your community, I love that. Like, let's just do it imperfectly. Let's do it.
Just start making efforts, but I think that the beekeeping or the awareness of the bees having issues is kind of a catalyst that brings people into what can we do big picture wise. It's kind of like a gateway into there's a big picture at play here, and I think folks are brought into that awareness through this Save the Bees, or there's issues with the bees kind of thing. So it plays more roles than just the beekeeping itself. I think it segues and leads into these other things that are the issues at hand for the future generations that are going to inherit. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
John, thanks so much for reaching out. I really appreciate meeting with you today.
Likewise. Thank you for taking the appointment and setting up this call. And please let me know if you guys are able to come by and check out the facility in person and see what we're up to. I'd love to share that with you.
Yeah, I'm going to text you. The phone number that you put in the Zoom meeting is your cell phone?
Maybe. I believe it is, yeah.
Let me stop the recording and then let's just make sure I got your right phone number, okay? Hold on. Bye, everybody.